Hello everyone, it's Nathan here, getting some study time in this morning on a cloudy but beautiful morning here in Ohio. I'm enjoying some 4th generation 1931 flake in my Barlings. This is one of those ones that my dad or my grandfather had, and it's just not much for straight pipes, but man, this thing's a good smoke. And if you haven't tried 1931 flake, oh my, absolutely delicious. And I'm out. So, this is my VR to There and Tobac again for his 1,000 sub GAW. Man, congratulations, brother. Really enjoyed your stuff. And your other channel too, where you have 2 other guys and you're sitting there playing cover songs. Really enjoyable stuff. But congratulations on your channel for Tobac again. It's good stuff. And he wanted to know of a story of a time that we witnessed something good and that it changed our lives. And most of that stuff in my life occurs centered around my parents. And morning coffee. And it's just fantastic to reminisce on this kind of thing, because it's good to see what the Lord brings into our lives that makes these changes in us, that causes us to just really abound in thanksgiving. And a lot of it is just my dad. He was such an example for us as a kid, when I was a kid, and still continues to be. And so this is kind of a theme for the video. So Dad would go into work, and Mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she would, do all sorts of housework, and we had a fairly sizable house, and she would manage that with 5 kids. Tremendous woman. And Dad held her up in high esteem. Loved her like no one else, no other, because that was, as he viewed, his blessing, his gift. And it's always stuck with me. And it's how I would like to see that I would treat my wife, as just the epitome of what God's grace can be here on earth in such a gift. And we really saw an example of that as a kid, in really anything, but specifically, Dad would go to work, and and he'd work his tail off, and he would come home, and it would be funny. There would be times where when he'd come home, us kids would be, doing various things around the house or outside, so we wouldn't see him come in. But then there would be those days where we did. And we would just run up to him at the door and welcome him home because we were real glad to see him. And, the typical kid stuff. But it even happened when we were in our teenage years, despite all of our individual frustrations and angers growing up in the teen angst stage of our lives. But Dad always, he would greet us, but his motions were always directed, because he would come home around when Mom was preparing dinner, and he would come in and he wouldn't really stop moving until he got to Mom. For the most part, he didn't really turn to address us kids until he got to Mom and would give her a hug and a kiss, for just out of his love for her, but also as a gratitude for all that she's doing at home as well. And then once he did that, then, he would turn to us and greet us and just show his affection to us. All of this in the midst of, while we're trying to hug on him and trying to prevent him from moving towards Mom. He wouldn't say anything about it, but he just kept moving to Mom. Mom was his direction at all times. And boy, what a blessing to see. What an impact. And I think on it quite often. My siblings think on it quite often. And what we've noticed is that it's always been on replay through various other things in our lives, that we get to see this kind of activity all the time with Dad. Back in 2008, 2009, somewhere around there, Mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And we got to see it again. Dad dropped everything to minister to Mom. And it was an early stage cancer, so she wasn't necessarily really sick, but you go through chemo, and that devastates the body in many, many different ways. But he dropped everything to care for her. He would do woodworking and stuff, and a lot of that stuff got put on hold because, even though they were things he enjoyed, they were things that helped him, just kind of go through life, as all of our hobbies are. Mom was his life, his hobby, his enjoyment, his fulfillment in life that the Lord gave him. And so he took care of Mom. He took care of things when she couldn't do them and all that stuff. And then the cancer went into remission. The doctors officially cured her, though I don't personally think there's really a cure. You just don't see it in the reports. Anyway, another discussion. 2019 comes around, and Mom's re-diagnosed with cancer, and this time it's metastatic breast cancer, and there's, as the doctors see it, there's no cure. And so really what we see is that, this is how the Lord's going to take Mom home. Don't know when, doctors say 6 months, and then eventually it became every 2 weeks. How long? Oh, you get 2 weeks. How long? 2 weeks. Doctors didn't know. But Dad, once again, drops it all. And because this time it's terminal, he is, every breath he takes, everything he hears diminishes, because he hears for Mom's voice. He hears for her needs, watches for her needs. just like her need for that hug and kiss when she's cooking dinner when he gets home from work. He does it again. And being in his mid-70s now, he's not the stronger man that he used to be. But every ounce of energy that he had was to Mom for a year and a half. And just the response was always there, from Mom, always looking at him with admiration, love, loyalty, the whole gamut. And then September comes, which was this past September, 2020, and the Lord comes and takes Mom home. And obviously that comes with all the emotions that it typically does. And Dad, just sitting with her as the Lord's coming, and afterwards still is tending to her, and it just is a wonderful memory. The next day we're all over at Dad's. The house just, feels all that much more empty. But Dad's rejoicing. He knows that Mom's no longer in pain. We're all rejoicing in the same aspect too. And we're just talking about it, and Dad's talking about the grief and the past year and a half, and also the past 53 years that the Lord gave them. And Dad said that it was his honor to go through every bit of that. Especially the difficult times. And even now in the grief, he says it's been his honor. And he wouldn't change a thing. I have not seen my dad complain at all in that grief. He looks forward to the Lord coming for him so that he can be with his Lord without sin and be reunited with Mom. But now he spends his time with us. He's now focused on his kids because he's seen through that blessing with his mom, with our mom. And the time with Mom was necessary for him and every ounce of it that he could do. And so now he gets to spend time with us, and we with him. And it gives all of us such an example of joy and peace to see that from Dad throughout our entire lives. And so it's fair to say, and I don't get emotional much, but I get choked up a little bit with this. But it's fair to say that in the example of what he did when I was a kid, and seeing how he exemplified that, and not intentionally, I don't think, it was just a natural thing for him, but see how that was exemplified typologically throughout his entire life with us. That's changed my life. So, anyway, I'm going to put some pictures up. At the end of this. That's how Mama saw Dad. That's how she always looked at him. So, count your blessings and be thankful for them. And when all that has been said and done, grace and peace to you. Thanks for watching, everyone.